Over the past 2 months, I've actually been taking ice baths because I feel like they've been really beneficial for me personally. And there have been studies where ice baths have been very good for a person's health, for recovery. So there's many reasons why I got into doing ice baths. Now the way I do it is I just pretty much fill up my bathtub with the cold water here in Fukushima, Japan. Now, in the winter recently, usually the temperature is about, it could get low as just under 20 degrees Fahrenheit and as high as like in the mid 30s. So it gets pretty cold. On average, it probably gets to the mid 20s. And if the outside the weather is about 25 degrees, the water is just absolutely freezing. It's just cold water that I'm not actually used to, given the fact that I've been living in California for majority of my life. And so every time like I turn on the faucet water for about 10 seconds, my hand starts to go numb because it's that cold, right? And so you can imagine the bath water is just as cold, if not colder, right? And so I haven't checked the temperature of these cold ice baths that I've been doing, but if the weather outside is about mid 20s and you have the water that's also freezing where your hands go numb within seconds, it definitely is well under 50 degrees Fahrenheit in terms of the water temperature. Because I've been in water that's been 50 degrees Fahrenheit, it's pretty cold, but I think the water here is definitely a bit colder. So, probably if I had to guesstimate, it has to be around the 40s, right? In terms of water temperature, it can't get below 32 degrees because that's when the water freezes. So anywhere from, I would say, the mid 40s to maybe around high 30s is probably the temperature of the water, is my guess. So what I've been doing, my recent discovery for the past about 2 months ago is I wanted to do, I've always wanted to do ice baths, but it's hard to get access to it, at least in California. I mean, you probably have to get like a bag of ice, you have to get like a tub to be able to do it. So logistically, it was kind of harder for me to implement that into my routine. But given the fact that this winter has been so cold here in Fukushima, Japan, and just realizing that the water is so cold that you could probably do ice baths here without even needing ice. So I actually tried that, and when I tried it for the first time about 2 months ago, oh man, it was so cold. it was uh, it was quite an experience, but it was good. I really, when I did it for the first time, I think I stayed in there for about 3 minutes or so, and really focused on my breathing because for you to stay in there without, hyperventilating, without, just freaking out, you really have to control the breathing. So just focusing on my breath, just trying to slow down my breath, taking deep breaths for me to just stay calm and stay in there longer. Uh, that was really the practice that I was really focused on for me to bear the cold water, the cold freezing water that I had to be in for several minutes. So even the benefits I felt right away after the first time doing it, and immediately, right, when you get off and then you take a hot shower, it just feels so good, right? Like you can imagine going through like unbearable pain or torment, right? Or like holding your urine and just waiting for that moment of release and getting it all out there. And the relief that you feel once the pain is gone is it's so immense, it's so surreal, and it feels so great, right? After going through pushing yourself and going through so much uh torment, right? The relief afterwards actually feels so much greater. And that's kind of how it felt coming out of the cold ice water and taking that hot shower for about 15-20 minutes, right? I mean, immediately you just feel that sense of relief. And that sense of relief after coming from like this period of torment just feels so great, right? And so to an extent, like anybody can relate to that, right? The relief after going through some sort of painful experience or painful moment in time, right? And that's just kind of how it felt. And also, there are physical benefits in terms of recovery. If you have like muscle soreness or aches like that, if you take an ice bath, I believe there are studies where it just speeds up the recovery process, and I do see a lot of athletes implement that into their training regimen. So I also wanted to incorporate that for my own health and also for recovery purposes too. And so after the first several times of taking those ice baths, like I did feel like those aches and bumps that I did have, uh, like the recovery process is just that much faster as opposed to not taking the ice baths. I could see like within a day, like all my aches, my soreness just recovers right away. And so I did feel like immediate result from just doing that, the ice baths. And so because of that, because of those benefits, I've been just incorporating that as much as I could. And it is tough. It is very difficult because leading up to doing the ice bath is always the challenge, right? Because your body knows the shocking feeling of the immense cold temperature that it gets into, right? And it kind of puts your body in a bit of shock. And but you have to be able to just calm down and try to sit through it and sit through kind of the discomfort of being in that cold temperature. So my body does recognize that even before going into the ice bath because it just knows it has to prepare itself to be in shock, right? And it's tough because mentally I have to prepare myself. I have to push myself and do something I kind of don't want to do. And that's where it's but I know afterwards the benefit is so much greater. Uh Even if I have to go through 3 to 5 minutes of just torture, you could say, or just an uncomfortable position, right? And so it's like the few times where I actually get really nervous. I get nervous before going into the iPads because I just don't want to feel that shock. It's so cold and it's already bad as it is going outside and dealing with the cold wind and the cold weather outside, but now you gotta be like naked and immersed in the freezing water here. And so that part of it is actually the tough part, is just actually doing it and preparing my mind and body to do it and fighting those nerves, fighting the fear of the discomfort. And so that is kind of what's been going on as I've been taking these ice baths and just incorporating it as part of my daily habit. But I can say from firsthand experience that it just has been so beneficial for me. And like after taking the ice baths, like I think my mood just feels a lot better. I feel my mind feels a bit clear because also in that time of discomfort, whatever stress you have or whatever you're overthinking about, it kind of just goes away, right? It's like you're so present in that discomfort. You're so present. All you're thinking about is like your next breath, and just controlling breath by breath. Like just focusing on the next breath. That's all you're thinking about. You're so present in that situation of discomfort and in your breathing that you don't think about anything else, right? And when you come out of it, you there's this great sense of relief, and I believe from the studies, there's a bit of dopamine release, a natural dopamine release once you come out of the ice bath, and so I definitely feel the benefits of that. And obviously, for a guy that's always active and always exercising, it's so good for recovery, and I felt the results of that as well. And so that's why I've been just trying to implement it more, especially during the winter when the water is very cold, and it's easier for me logistically to do the ice baths, because in the summer the water will not get as cold, right? And it'll be tougher for me to do ice baths because then I probably have to get like a bag of ice and all that. And so probably during the summer it's not ideal to do it, but during the winter I've been taking advantage of the cold and doing these cold ice baths uh, as part of my daily routine. And so that's just my feedback from it. I've always wanted to do it, and now that I've been doing it for the past 2 months, I realize how beneficial it is for me personally. And so maybe if you have the access and you have the logistics to do it, this could be something that you could implement in your daily routine as well. And you don't really necessarily have to be an athlete. It just I believe has a lot of health benefits to it, and I definitely feel the results of it. And from my own experience, it's something to encourage you to do if you are able to do it. And so, yeah, I'll continue to do it. I'm even considering trying to do a 30-day challenge with the ice baths. But again, there's that nerves, there's that little bit of fear in me, and the daunting fact that I might have to do this every day for a month, and that's tough. I don't. Some days I feel a little bit more calm and confident about it, but there's other days where it's just like, oh, I just really don't want to do it. So we'll see if this becomes a 30-day challenge. The fact that I'm holding back just might mean that I have to do it. So be on the update for that. Be on the lookout for that and see if that's something to do. But I can surely say that ice baths are something that I would encourage you to do, as it has many health benefits to it.